Hello, everyone. We're going to do a really casual stream tonight. I thought it would be interesting to show you guys what my meal plan process is. I've talked about this a little bit on the stream. I've lost about 160 pounds over the last couple years, and the way I did that, I gained about 20 back growing this beard. And one of the ways I did that, probably the main way I did that, was through meal prep and meal planning. So what I thought I'd do tonight, I have to do my weekly meal plan anyway. I just thought I'd go ahead and show you what the process is. Okay, so I use Plan to Eat, which is a online meal plan service. I've used it for, gosh, 5, 6 years. I really love them. I think you should check them out. Obviously, this isn't a sponsored stream. Jesus. And having said that, I'm not even saying it's necessarily the best, but I like it and it's the one that I use. So I thought I would just show you guys around that. So first thing is, as you can see here, it shows my calories. Right now, if I just ate 4 eggs and a sixth of a bag of cheese, I would only be eating 460 calories. Well, how many calories do I need to eat in a day? I use this calculator. So here you can see it's the keto calculator. I've been eating extremely low carb for about 3 years. That was a big part of me being able to lose so much weight. So I went here, keto calculator girl.com, and we got, I put in all my information. I mean, this was years ago. I put in my information, but now as I've been losing weight, I've been updating it every month or so. And so here's where we are. So to eat at the calorie deficit that I want, which is a 24% deficit, which is moderate. I could go, up a little bit. It'd be a large deficit, but I like moderate deficit. That's doable for me. Puts me at 1,865 calories a day. And then this stuff is all keto relevant. Obviously, this is just about meal prep. It's not necessarily about keto or low carb, but calories applies to everybody. So 1,865 is our total today. That's what we're going to be trying to hit. We look over here to Plan to Eat. Okay, so every morning I eat eggs with some cheese in it. And so I went ahead and just made a recipe for 4 eggs and a sixth of a bag of cheese because it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to do it. So I figured out the calories, put those in, and here are my ingredients. 4 eggs and a sixth of a bag of cheese. I'll show you about my shopping list later. Don't worry, this is going to get very intricate, and I don't know how many people are going to stick around, but it's going to be, you guys are going to see the depths to which I fall. So this week I want to have some breakfast sausage with my eggs and cheese. And it turns out I don't actually just have, let me explain this sixth of a bag of cheese. So for my meal plans, I do 6 days, sometimes 7 days. So for a 6-day meal plan, I get 1 bag of cheese and I split it out into sixes. So that's what this sixth of a bag of cheese is. So I figured out what the calories and how much. So a bag of cheese is 8 ounces, which is 253 grams. 224 grams. Anyway, a sixth of that is 37 grams. So I split that out every week. So anyway, I realized I don't actually have a sixth of a pound of breakfast sausage added. So I'm going to show you guys how I add a recipe. Does this make sense, this splitting something into a sixth? That way it's 6 days of my meal plan. Maybe to make this a little bit more obvious. So the idea is that, my meal plan starts tomorrow, the 22nd. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I bought 4 eggs and a sixth of a bag of cheese for the next 6 days, that would be 6 times 4 is 24 eggs, and 6 times 1/6 is 1 bag. See? Okay, so let's add a recipe. It's not really a recipe, it's just food. And that food will be some sausage. So let me see here. And so the two things I need to do is I need to add it. Boop. And so I'll just say it's breakfast sausage. Do most of my stuff in metric, but I'm an American, so when I'm shopping, it's easier to find stuff that's a pound when it comes to meat. All right, so there's all that. Serves 1 because it's going to be 1 serving. The amount will be 1/6 of a pound of breakfast sausage. Boop. And then I'm just going to add my the course. It is a meat course. Save that. None of that matters. I don't use the other things there. So now we got to add in the nutritional information. It's 215 calories. Fat is 19 grams of fat. Total carbs. So on the plan view here, you'll see it doesn't. This particular program doesn't show net carbs. Net carbs is important to people who eat low carbs. Net carbs is the total amount of carbs subtracting the carbs that your body can't process, like fiber, sugar, alcohols, etc. That's a more explanation than you probably need. I'm just saying that I use the total carbohydrate field here to be the net carbohydrate. So how I do that is I go to total carbs is 2. Dietary fiber here is 0. If it were 1, then I would subtract 1 from 2 and I'd have 1. But this one's easy. It's just 2. 2, not 12. 2. Okay. And then finally protein is the only other thing I care about. And that's 9 grams. 9. Okay. Let's add a photo. Again, this is not an ad for Plan to Eat. I just know how to use it, so it's what I use. You could use paprika. I think paprika does nutritional stuff. You could use Excel for that matter. All right, save. Okay. And the last thing I need to do is tag. So I tag things with, okay, is it breakfast? Yes. Then I tag it as calories in a range of calories, because sometimes if I need to if I've done my whole meal plan but I'm like 100 calories short, I might say, okay, what do I have that's 100 calories? And then none of this really matters. I could put it in an omelet though. Serve 6. And I think that's everything. Okay, so there's all the tags, and I hit save. Bloop. All right, so now what I do, now that I have breakfast sausage added, I'm going to drag it in. Whoop. Actually, let me put it up at breakfast. Bloop. I'll do it 6 more times. Now, I should mention here that yes, I eat the same thing every day. I live alone. I don't really care about food that much, especially now that I eat to a certain amount of calories. I still like food quite a bit. Don't get me wrong, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the keto or if it's something else. I can live with just eating the same thing every day. Okay, so there's that. So now we see that the calories have updated here at the bottom. So we're at 675 calories, which is a third of what I need for the day. And my carbs is at 4.4. Sarah, I'm glad everything's fine. I'll ignore the framing and just say I'm glad everything is fine. Okay, and then up next, let's add a lunch. So the lunch I want to add is going to be this lunch bowl I saw, which is, I guess, it's kind of a salad. So it's some chopped up. Let's get to where it is. It's some chopped up lunch meat, different veggies, and then it's got like a spicy hoagie sauce on it. Kind of a salad, kind of almost like a veggie chicken salad. I don't know. Interesting. So anyway, that looked interesting. Looked good. But I'm going to this one's kind of special. I'm gonna plan it last so you guys can see the crazy steps I go to add these things. So let's go ahead and skip down to dinner. Now for dinner, I want this recipe I've already added in, instant pot corned beef and cabbage. So what I do is, actually close this now, and I can close this now. Boop. So just search over here on the side, beef. So when I'm not on a stream, what I really do, since I eat the same thing every day, is I really just plan one day and then shop for that, one day because it's the same thing. But I thought I'd show you guys, illustrate a little better what I'm doing here. So it's 499 calories, which puts us up to 1174. The other thing too about how I meal plan. Let's talk a little bit about this. First, you'll see, and you're going to see this in greater detail later, I break all my recipes out into, make them very granular, one step at a time. The reason I do that is not because I'm some master cook, but because I'm not, and I'm not a very confident cook. So when I have a recipe that expects you to do 3 different things at once, I get kind of screwy. The other thing I do, which we're going to talk about a little bit soon, is anything that I can change into weight, I change to weight. We'll talk about how I do that when I do the hoagie bowl. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is this actually serves 8. So in a perfect world, all my recipes would serve 7, and I could, cook on a Sunday and eat 7 days worth of food. And then the next Sunday, I would cook again. But most recipes are either 6 or 8, or 12 sometimes. And you can definitely, definitely, with some recipes, you can, change them and scale them. Some recipes you really can't, because you'll end up having to buy like a quarter, or, like a pound 0.15 of chicken or something like that. So what I do is I try to, I almost always do a 6-day meal plan. And then if I schedule stuff that's 8 servings, on the 7th day, I eat the 2 extra servings. And I'll show you, like I said, I'll show you a little bit more about that. The other option, if you wanted to cook both days, and again, let me time out here and say, because I see Sarah talking about this in the chat, is that I acknowledge that as a single person who lives alone, no dependents, I cook for myself, I make decent money, I have a lot of privileges that other people don't have in terms of being able to do this. And it also means that I can do things like eat the same thing every single day or only have food in my house that's part of my meal plan. If you saw my video today about cooking eggs in a waffle maker, um, uh, then you saw that I kind of hid my fridge when I opened it. And the reason I did that was actually there's actually kind of a funny reason about that. The reason I did that was because today is the last day of my meal plan. So yesterday when I filmed the video, if I'd opened the fridge on camera, you would have seen there's just nothing in it. And the reason, aside from like condiments and stuff, no food to eat. The reason I do that is because I only buy what I eat. Otherwise, I get tempted to go eat. It would be great if I had the sort of, relationship with food to just buy a bunch of stuff and, just have it in there and not just eat it up. But I do, or I don't have that relationship. So I did. I don't have self-control, but I can fake it really well. I only have food in my house that I can eat. So it's one thing to cheat on your diet or your way of eating when you have food all over the house. It's another thing to cheat on it when it's like, okay, if I eat this corned beef tonight, I won't have anything to eat tomorrow. Um, so a little bit more. So, the other thing you could do if you wanted to cook all weekend, that timeout is over, is you could actually do, and I've done this in the past. You could do staggered. So you could make a Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday meal plan that's 4 servings, recipes that are 4 servings, and cook that on Saturday. And then Sunday, do a Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday meal plan that would be maybe 6 serving recipes that you cut in half. So. Okay, so my corned beef is added, and we're at 1174, so I need 700 more calories. Keto, of course, has a reputation for being like all eggs and all bacon. I like to eat, I like to have one good salad and one side of vegetables every week. I'm trying not to be too much of an evangelist, but not a big believer in. I don't do a straight carnivore diet, but I do get most of my calories from animal sources instead of vegetable sources. But um, obviously, I would like to get some veggies in. So here are roasted broccoli with soy sauce and sesame seeds. I actually don't remember adding this, so it must have been a while back. That sounds good. So let me add that in. Roasted broccoli. So there's some vegetables. There's some cabbage and carrots in this. So we'll go ahead and eat my broccoli with it. Now, actually, it'll really be a snack. I live alone. I work from home, as everyone does, hopefully these days, or most people do. So I don't really, I don't really think of things as breakfast, lunch, dinner. I think of I have this, I can eat this. Breakfast sausage, maybe I'll crumble it up and make an omelet out of it, or maybe I'll just eat a couple patties of sausage, later in the day. Same with broccoli. I don't, really sit down and I don't really sit down and say, okay, well, it's breakfast time, so I'm going to eat this. And, well, it's 1 o'clock, time for lunch, where I eat this and this. We're at 1348. My roasted broccoli's in. And so now we're going to add this keto hoagie lunch bowl. I'm going to tell you right now, I am not going to eat the cherry tomatoes because they're gross. And yes, I've had a fresh tomato. I still don't like them. So I thought you guys would be interested in seeing the almost literally insane way that I add recipes. Okay, so Plan to Eat has a way where you can just enter a recipe right from a website. It's not always perfect, but it's a good start. Just import from web and drop it in. Oop. There we go. So I know this is silly, but I usually take keto out of the title of all my recipes that I add, because if I didn't, everything in my recipe book would say keto. At this point, eating low carb for 3 years, it's just kind of assumed. Okay, and let's just get rid of that description because I don't care. I don't really enter the time. All right, so this is 4 servings. So what we'll do is when I schedule it, we'll make it 6 servings. Actually, So if something like this is granular, meaning, let's go back over here, meaning I can divide it by 6, a lot of times I'll just do that, or divide it by the number of servings. So let's see. If I made this just 1 serving would be 1 ounce, 1 ounce, 1 ounce. 2 ounces would be half an ounce, 2.5. Well, I'm not using cherry tomatoes, so it doesn't matter. 3.5 ounce, okay. 1 ounce of banana peppers, okay. And a quarter. What's a quarter divided by 4? 7%. Okay. 1 tablespoon. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm actually not going to enter this recipe as 4 servings. What I'm going to enter it in as is 1 serving. And then when I duplicate it, I just pointed where you guys couldn't see. And then when I duplicate it, it'll just be 1 serving, 1 serving, 1 serving, and it'll go out to 6. And when I go to my shopping list, it'll show me a shopping list for 6 servings. That doesn't make sense right now, I know, but hopefully it'll make sense when we're done. Okay, so let's divide all these things by 4 and also convert them to metric. So 4 ounces is 112 grams. 112 divided by 4 would be 28. So let me just go right down the line. Okay, and let's change that to grams. All right, so a quarter of 2 ounces is 56 divided by 4. Time to break out my mechanical calculator. That's right, clicky keys. All right, so 56 divided by 4 is what, 14? Yep, 14. Okay, so this is going to be, so usually, often anyway, I'll do a whole new recipe for every meal. But I figured you guys probably want to hang out watching me do this tediousness 4 different times. I thought we'd just do it once. So let's see. 2.5 times 28 is 70 divided by 4. So 17.5 grams cherry tomatoes, which, you know, I just realized I don't even need. I don't even like cherry tomatoes, so screw it. Is there something I could replace? Maybe I'll get a red pepper or something, but banish it. Okay, 3.5 ounces of cucumber. 3.5 times 28, 98 divided by 4 equals 24.5 ounces. I'm sorry, 24.5 grams, of course. About 24, that's 1.5 pounds of cucumber in each serving of salad. This will just be 28 grams. Medium red onion diced, so a quarter of a medium red onion. So I want to convert that to weight. So I've actually, over the years, collected different weights of different food. So if I get an onion, a medium onion is 141 grams. How do I do this? Well, some of it I can just Google and find. You know, they'll say the average the average onion is 141 grams. The other way you can do it is nutritional labels. And I've actually already pulled one up here because I'm a good streamer. So this phony nutritional label that I pulled up, if you look here at the serving size, 2/3 of a cup is 55 grams. So let me just say you need 2 tablespoons. Okay, so we know that a cup is 16 tablespoons, and if we didn't, we'd Google it. So let's go ahead and figure out what 16 tablespoons would be. So if 2/3 of a cup is 55, that would be 55 divided by 2 to find out what 1/3 of a cup is, right? It's 27.5. So 27.5 times 3 is 82.5. So whatever food this is, it's 82. 1 cup is 82.5 grams. And the way I figured that out again is 2/3 of a cup is 55. So I divided 55 by 2, gave me 27.5. And that told me what 1/3 of a cup was. 1/3 of a cup times 3 is obviously 1 cup. So 27.5 times 3 gives me 82.5. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so 82.5 is 1 cup, which is 16 tablespoons. So now what I do is I take 82.5 and I divide it by 16. That gives me, we'll round it down to 5. That tells me what 1 tablespoon is. So if I needed to know what the weight of 2 tablespoons of this mystery food is, I just multiply that by 2, and we get 10.3. I'd probably round it up to 10.5 grams. I know this seems really complicated and kind of obscure, but only because I'm explaining it so slowly and probably poorly. If you're watching this and you're struggling to figure it out, hit me up at Poncho Rebound on Twitter, and I will walk you through it. Okay, so that's where I got a lot of these food weights from, is from nutritional labels. So onions, so you guys see here I say, okay, medium onion is 141 grams. We say, well, wait a minute. A yellow onion is like this big. A white onion is like this big. A red onion can be, the size of a volleyball. That's true. I do, when I'm shopping, I do try to buy them about the same size, kind of relative to each other. But I like to be really specific and precise, but there comes a point where it's like it doesn't matter. If something's like 30 more grams than it's supposed to be, it's not the end of the world. So I just use a standardized 141 grams for onions. Okay, so if 141 grams is a medium onion, whoops, by instinct I just went right to Twitter. Then let's figure out what a quarter of it would be. 141 divided by 4. So that's 35.25 grams. Let me just put this in for a second. Okay. The reason I do onions by weight instead of full onions is a lot of times I buy frozen onions that are already chopped. I won't do it in this case because it's salad, and salad, obviously you don't want to eat like mushy, gross onions. What actually I might do though, is I might get these red onions and pickle them. In fact, that is absolutely what I'm going to do. I'm going to pickle some red onions and put them on my salad. I think that's a lot better than eating raw red onions. Otherwise, I just say, okay, quarter of an onion. Okay, so 35.25 grams of red onion is a quarter, but we're remembering we're dividing it by 4 to get 1 serving. So 35.25 divided by 4 is 8.8. So 8.8, we'll just round up to 9. So I need 9 grams of red onion, diced. 4 tablespoons of mayonnaise is obviously divided by 4. That would be 1 tablespoon. But I like to do mayonnaise by weight. And the reason I like to do mayonnaise by weight is that I don't like cleaning out the little, measuring things, and they're not that precise. Hate it. So what I do instead is I cook everything, or often put things on my scale, and then, I scoop out the mayonnaise until it's at the, okay, so if I need 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons is 28 grams, so this is going to be 14 grams. 14 grams. Mayonnaise. Always get Duke's mayonnaise. 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. Anything that's like a liquid, I don't really change to weight because it's pretty easy to just wash out the tablespoon as opposed to like trying to get mayonnaise out of it. Let me see, do I have a... Vinegar would just be the same weight as water. And let's see. Okay, well, whatever. We're just going to leave that as is. But it's a quarter of a tablespoon red wine vinegar. Olive oil, I do by weight because, again, I don't like cleaning out a measuring spoon. Olive oil, let's see. This one's 1 tablespoon of olive oil, which would be 14 grams. 14 divided by 4 is 3.5. Half a teaspoon of dried basil. Good Lord. Okay, so 0.5 divided by 4 is going to be 0.125. What is that, an eighth? Maybe a 16th? I don't know. 0.75. This one's a little sillier than usual, but it makes sense, as you'll see when I go to the cooking view, because it's going to add up all these little fractions together into a whole. 0.75 divided by 4. 0.1875. And then just salt and pepper to taste. What's the course? It is a salad. Calories are right. Did we get the grams right? Let's say the fat right. Yep. Okay, it couldn't find the carbs. So here's what I was talking about before. The total carbs for this meal is 5.25. Fiber is 1.07. If you subtract the 2 per serving, it's 4.18. I feel like I've done a pretty bad job of getting across that this is actually pretty easy once you get up and started. It's just, it's just a little, I find it really fun to do this. Obviously, other people might not, but for me, it's kind of a blast. So definitely give it a shot. And, there's also, I want a bone to pick, or I have a bone to pick about something else, which is all the time, I need to tweet about this, he said about everything in his life. You'll see like, experience the vegan lifestyle with our vegan meal plan. This isn't about vegans. It could be a keto meal plan. It could be South Beach meal plan. And then you look at the meal plan, and it's a different meal for every, it's a different recipe for every meal for a week, 2 weeks. You look at it, it's like, this would be $400 if I bought all these things, and I'd be cooking 6 times a day. They're not realistic at all. I hate it because it turns so many people off to the idea of cooking for themselves. Because what they don't understand is these meal plans, they're not supposed to be cooked. They're fiction. They're advertisement. It says, hey, you want to go vegan? Look at all this great food. You think it's restrictive, but it's not restrictive. There are all these great meals that you can eat. Like I said, I hate it. It's a form of lying in a way, and it turns people off who want to try a new way of eating because they see all these things that they have to do, and they're like, that's too hard. I'm not going to do it. So, what I'd recommend is if you find a meal plan that seems interesting to you, pick a single day and cook that, cook that once and have it for the next 3 or 4 days, or pick 2 days and stagger them like we were talking about before. So, um, yeah, I agree. Getting into the groove is definitely the hardest part. Um, uh, I have no advice there because there are so many other things in my life I'm not in the groove on. Um, that well, I tweet about that all the time, so we don't need to get into that. But for whatever reason, this this is one thing I've been able to stick with. So it wasn't always true. I've struggled with my weight my whole life. It's only um, in the last 3 years that I've had any control over my eating at all. So and now I will be an evangelist for 1 second and just say I've tried everything else, and keto is the only thing that really worked for me. And the reason for that, I think, is that I'm so full of fat, like dietary fat, lipids, that I'm just not hungry all day, and it doesn't trigger my binge eating because I don't have that hunger response. Okay, enough about that. All right, so let me now add in my protein. 31.18. That's a little more granular than I usually care for. So 31.1. Let's round that up to 2. Let's round that up to 2. That's fine. And usually with calories, I do whole numbers. Because really, what's 2/10 of a calorie? Is that really going to sink me? Okay. Oh, and let me add some tags in. Is between 475 and 500. It is serves 1. I'm not going to explain this because this is just particular to my personal system that I'm not trying to teach you guys. Wet salad. I added this because it grosses my sister out. My sister and I do a lot of meal planning together and meal prep together. And so it's weird that in English, salad can mean like a big bowl of lettuce, and it can also mean like chicken salad. Um, and so I didn't have a name for stuff like chicken salad or pimento cheese. So I started calling it wet salad, and it grossed my sister out so much I just made it a tag, so she has to live with it. Okay, so there's my tags. Okay, so now here comes the really crazy part, because now you guys get to see just how much of a lunatic I am about meal planning. So like I said earlier before a lot of other people joined, I'm not a very confident cook. What I like to do is I break every recipe I can down into its parts. And yeah, that means that, let me save this and show you what I mean. So yeah, that means that sometimes I will have 35 steps, and it seems overwhelming, but then you cook and it's like, oh, it's put something in one bowl, put something in another bowl, and then put it in the oven. So let me show you what I mean here. So Instant Pot, well, let me show you, do the broccoli here. It's probably a duplicate. I forgot to do this. Please stand by. Okay, so the corned beef is a good example. So see how there's just all these steps just to put something in the Instant Pot? That just helps me cook. I like to go, one step at a time. Okay, so let's say let's talk about how I do. I've broken out all the ingredients. So where is that thing? So let's talk about how I break out my steps. Okay, go over here. Again, I'm not going to walk you through this because this is specific to Plan to Eat. Okay, so now I go over here. This is DynaList. It's where I keep my whole life. It is, I should do a stream about DynaList. It is a infinitely recursive bulleted app. And then you can go through and you can say, well, I don't care about that or that. And then you can blow it back out. Love it. So now I'm going to paste the ingredients in. And then we're going to grab the steps. These steps are pretty light. So this is actually a pretty good example. So we're going to copy this. And we'll go over here to DynaList and paste it in. Boop. Highly recommend DynaList. You've probably used something similar if you're into productivity apps. You've probably used Workflowy. This is kind of a Workflowy lingered, languished for a long time without really any changes. And DynaList, which I think was created by a young couple in Asia who are young go-getters. They've created a really great product with a lot of neat things that Workflowy doesn't have. So let me break down each step. So prep together all the bowl ingredients and place them into a bowl. So how do we know what the bowl ingredients are? Ah, here we go. Okay, so this is actually a neat thing that Plan to Eat has. So let me go over and do this real quick. I'm just going to do this really quickly because, like I said, this isn't a Plan to Eat tutorial, but there is a way to separate things like that. So let me see, is that? Yeah. And that's called sauce. Okay, cool. And see when I save it, now look, it's broken out. How clever. Okay, so let's go back over to the meal plan. Probably don't need the weights anymore, but I might. Okay. So now, bowl. Did those. Sauce. Okay, so this first step we're going to explode. Prep together all the bowl ingredients and place them in a bowl. So what that looks like in my recipes is combine in a let's see, how much is this stuff? It's going to be pretty big, so we're going to say a large bowl. I got in the habit of all capping the names of bowls for some reason, and now like I know that if I stop doing it, I have to go through and fix all the other ones because I'm kind of finicky like that. So what am I going to combine in a large bowl? I'm going to combine these things. Now, sometimes what I'll do is even break it down more and say, especially if it's time sensitive, like, something's in the oven, I'll say, chop 28 grams of cooked turkey, chop, da, da, da. But in this case, because nothing's on the stove or anything, I can just take my time and, like, oh, now I have to cube cheese, now I have to shred this. Okay, and so now we have another thing here. So is this done? Combine in a large bowl. Prep together all the bowl ingredients and place them in a bowl set aside. All right, I usually want to do this, but because I'm showing you guys how I like to be granular, we'll add a set aside large bowl. Whoops. Oh gosh, Mr. Finicky here. Okay. Okay, so the next step is whisk together the sauce ingredients until thoroughly combined and then season with salt and pepper. So I'm just going to add in, oops, not there. Okay, so we'll bring all these things down here to here. Since salt and pepper is already on the list, I don't know why recipes add weird stuff like that. But not that salt and pepper is weird, but like why say season with salt and pepper if it's already on the ingredients list? Okay. Also, to taste, what does to taste mean? Just tell me and I'll figure it out. Okay, so we're going to say whisk together in a, it's probably a medium bowl. Now, if there's multiple bowls, what I'll say is like large veggie bowl or medium sauce bowl. There's only 2 bowls in this recipe, so. Okay. Oh, here's one thing I forgot that I need to go by and fix, and that is when I do the 1/6 of an ingredient things. What I'll do is I take the amount out because when I'm cooking, it doesn't automatically update. So it might not be 28 grams, it might be 112 grams. So let me quickly fix that. Apologies, everyone. I am not getting deli sliced Black Forest ham. I'm buying the cheapest ham I can find. I don't know if you guys heard about the economy, but yikes. Shredding. While I'm doing this, let me say earlier I was talking about how I buy bags of cheese. That's actually not true. I don't know why they still say bags. I actually buy squares and then shred it myself because it's cheaper and it doesn't have potato starch on it. You know how when you shred your own cheese, like half an hour later, it's like a giant dreadlock? The reason that bag cheese doesn't do that is because it's powdered with the potato starch, which is mostly harmless, but still not necessarily something, you know. When I want cheese, I want cheese. I don't want cheese and potato starch. And if I were really honest in my recipes, it would say salt, pepper, MSG. But I don't want my descendants to see my recipes and be like, oh, he put MSG and things, but I put MSG in everything. It's delicious. Okay, so now, oh, that's right, New Jersey, Northern Jersey. I was confusing you with all the other Girls Game Shelf folks who are all around DC. This says combine the bowl and sauce ingredients, mix together well, then serve. So this can actually be one. So I don't always blow out recipes. Sometimes I shorten them. So let's just shorten this one. Combine, no. Add, let's call that a medium sauce bowl. There we go. So now we've broken out a recipe. We've made it a lot more granular. And when I'm actually in the kitchen cooking, it's going to be a lot easier for me to follow. And I'll show you what I mean by that in just a moment. Okay. Boop. And change my directions here. Boop. I don't need to do that. But I will add some line breaks in. I didn't do this tonight, but one of the things I've been doing is saying like combine in large bowl, and then I'll put that again like combine, add to large bowl, cook turkey, add to large bowl. I don't want to do that because I'm already scaring you guys enough with how ridiculous my process is here. Okay, so here's my point earlier. If I opened up this recipe and I didn't know, I would see this and be like, holy crap, I'm not making this recipe. It has like 25 steps. But it's really, you chop up stuff, put in one bowl, mix up stuff, put in another bowl, put it all together, done. Let me make one adjustment to my macros here, to my nutritional facts, which is because I love this site, Ruled Me. It's a keto recipe site. And the thing I love, I haven't seen any other recipe site, keto, non-keto, do this, is they break it down by serving, by total, and then by the ingredients so that you can say, hey, you know what? I don't like cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to remove, if something was really high, I'm going to remove it. So okay, so one serving of cherry tomatoes is 13 calories. Well, that's not going to make or break me, but just as an example. What is that, 69? Nice. But the thing I actually do care about here is getting rid of the net carbs, 1.9 net carbs. 4.2 minus 1.9 is 2.3. And actually, let's go ahead. That's only two more. 0.1 and 0.6. So that becomes 2, and that becomes 30.6. Okay. So that's how I add a new recipe. Is everything saved? It would warn me if not. Okay. So now what I do is I go back over to my plan and I add it 6 times. What? Stop it. But here we have 18, 17. And my macros were, what was it, 1846? So I'm 30 calories under. Sometimes I'll add in a little 50 calorie thing, like a little handful of nuts. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll add like a little extra oil or a little extra butter to my eggs. Sometimes if I'm eating like a meat, I'll put, a little bit of mayo on it. I don't need to go buy, I don't need to make a recipe that has 30 calories. But the other thing I do, and this is something, don't take my advice. If you're working out and you have a trainer, talk to them about it. But when I work out, I'm hungrier because I'm burning more calories. So I figured out this is my sedentary calories, 1846. And then if I work out every day, I need to eat about 2,100 calories a day. So what I do is I don't get real precise here because on days I work out, if I'm hungry at the end of the day, I have all sorts of shelf-stable food. I have like cans of sardines, cans of tuna. In the freezer, I have different things that I can eat. That's 200 to 300 calories to help me not feel hungry. So I don't get real specific here because actually sometimes I will snack on something if I've worked out. Okay, so now again, this is a plan to eat specific thing. I just got to update my servings. So this shows me how many servings I'm planning of each thing. So these are all 1. That's good. Okay, so if I did my grocery list now, it would do a grocery list for, what's 8 times 6? 48? For 48 servings of this because I say, look, I'm going to make 8 servings today across the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zero that out. Okay. This is an update where it makes it a leftover. I don't like it. It used to not look like that. Blech. Same here. This says 5. We're going to do 6. And then we'll zero this out. Plan to eat if you're watching this. I don't like it. I don't like those gray boxes. Okay, so now all my servings are correct. And we're going to make a grocery list. All right, so let me show you guys my grocery list. All right, so first I got to just remember, okay, the 22nd to the 27th. So I go over here to shop, and I do a custom range, 22nd to the 27th. Save the range. And now it has everything dropped in. Again, this is not an ad for Plan to Eat. Use whatever use whatever meal planning system you like. But one thing I like about Plan to Eat is you can assign specific ingredients to specific stores and specific parts of stores. So because I shop at Publix, this actually has it broken out in terms of where things are in Publix. I don't do a lot of shopping on the inside. I know this is kind of a cliche. I don't do a lot of shopping in the aisles. So it's not quite obvious, but so here's an example. Aisle 3. I can reorder these. Let me go ahead and fix this real quick. So no category, spring mix lettuce, that is produce. So at my Publix, when I walk in and I turn left, produce is the first thing I run into. Banana peppers, though, are not produce. Banana peppers are L4. So then I go into produce, and it has everything I need right here in that section. Then I go to the deli, and I get some dry salami. Then I get, then I go to aisle 3, aisle 4, aisle 6, meat, frozen, eggs, cheese, bacon, and I'm out the door. Well, I don't need baking, so we can get rid of that. Boop. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this real quick and fix anything. Fresh broccoli florets, 2.5 pounds. And I've even put in little notes here. I'm not bragging, but I have put in little notes here that let me know when I'm shopping. Okay, a head is about 1 pound, so I need 3 heads of broccoli. But actually, I'm going to update this recipe because I will probably buy frozen broccoli. Don't you judge me. Which is 453 grams times 1.5 equals 679.5, which is going to be like 1.5 bags. Grams. Well, where did that go? Okay. 675 grams. Not 670. I'm going to go ahead and change this to frozen and make this broccoli florets. Change it. Roasting, by the way, frozen broccoli, super easy. Just Google, really, roast frozen broccoli, super easy. And since a lot of vegetables are frozen right in the field, like literally right when they're picked, a lot of times it's a lot better. I need 1 cabbage. I need 128 grams of carrots. Again, this is for my salad, so I wouldn't buy frozen. I just buy fresh. And then this might be obvious, might not. So obviously, I'm not going to be able to buy 128 grams of carrots. That's 1/4 pound. I'm going to have to buy a big bag of carrots. So, but that's awesome, because what that means is, since I'm already chopping them up anyway, I'll chop up all of them and freeze them. And then next time I'm cooking, I have these carrots that I won't have to buy. Celery stalks, 100 grams. And this tells me that a cup is 100 grams, which is 2 stalks. So I need 2 stalks of celery. Again, I'll just buy a bunch of celery and prep it and freeze it. What's this for? I might actually buy these frozen because this is for the Instant Pot stuff. Cucumber, 147 gram. I would just buy 1 cucumber at that point. 4 cloves of garlic. What I do is I buy the the big bags of pre-peeled garlic, like real garlic, and then I blitz it in the food processor, and I put it in a freezer bag and lay it out flat and freeze it. And 5 grams is 1 clove, so I'm going to need 20 grams of that garlic when it's time to cook. And I actually already know that I have garlic, so I'm just going to take that off the list. 84 grams of spring mixed lettuce, and then red onion. So all of these are things I'm going to need. So what we'll do is when I get off of the stream, what I always do before I go shopping is I go to my freezer and I look, and I go to my pantry and I look, and then I can cross stuff off the list. Dry salami, this is in deli. I didn't put it in deli, but plan to eat, sauce salami and said, I bet that's deli, but I'm actually going to put it with the meat because in my Publix, meat is over after aisle 6. So I know this seems real persnickety, but it is really, so satisfying to just be able to walk into the store and zoom right through. So how does Plan to Eat know that dried basil is on aisle 3? Well, it doesn't. I just made this category, and then as I've been shopping, I've been adding stuff to it. So dried basil, actually, no, I don't need it. And I know, what are you doing? Get off there. All right, I don't need dried basil. I know I don't need mayo. I don't think I need dried mustard, but I'll check. Okay, olive oil, 10 7/8 teaspoons. Sometimes the conversions are really screwy, but I don't want that to be teaspoons. I want that to be weight. So 10 7/8 teaspoons. What is it originally? It is 3 tablespoons. So 3 tablespoons. What did we figure out earlier? That a tablespoon of olive oil was 14 grams. So 14 times 3, I should know this, I think it's 42. 14 times 3 is 42. 42 grams of olive oil. So I'll save that. And over here in the background, it updates automatically. But again, I just know I have olive oil. Black peppercorns,